Live. Hello, YouTube. And hello, Twitter. Geoff and Kira.
We're back again.
We're back again.
The duo.
Episode 37. Geoff and Kira live.
How are you doing today?
You know,
Hi, Instagram.
I'm doing quite well. Hi, Instagram. Hi, YouTube. Hi, Twitter. We're back.
It's a bit of a shit show going on out there,
I'll tell you what.
and that's not a joke. That's not a toilet paper joke. As much as I would. Oh, here I got you some of this.
Oh, that is like so kind of you.
It's a quarter of a bottle, but
I mean, I'm gonna put some on right now.
I'm gifting Geoff some hand sanitizer.
So everybody make sure you're using your hand sanitizer, that you're washing your hands.
So we just got an update. New York City just closed all their bars and restaurants and schools.
Wow.
So today's episode is about coronavirus and social media and the role it plays in trolling, which has become a thing that's even worse that you're having to deal with, as including myself. So
if you're happy and you know it, wash your hands. That is our theme here at Geoff and Kira Live today. So just know, if you're happy and you know it, you don't have to clap for us. You just have to go and wash your hands, because that's the priority.
You know what's hard for me is I touch my face all the time.
I know, right?
How the hell do you not touch your face? Like I'm like, you know what? I think I've resolved to the fact I'm not scared.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fearful. I think it's more of an unknown uncertainty of like the economy. Like, how do we just hunker down and then hope when we get through it, then what? You know, and we live in Los Angeles where people live paycheck to paycheck, and it's like, okay, at some point we're not going to be able to pay rent. You know, and it's like, then you're going to have a serious homeless problem. So things like that, I know I'm going to get the virus.
Yeah.
I know you're going to get the virus.
Well, the thing about the virus is
we probably already have it.
Anybody could have it, and that's the real danger, I think, as we jump into this discussion, is having the virus and not knowing it. It's apparently extremely contagious to the asymptomatic people, which they're learning more and more every day. That's not just kids. It's a fairly large sample of the population who are running around with the
to that point,
virus.
Massachusetts is having a bit of a cluster, is what they call it. So 82 cases, they're saying, started by people who were not showing symptoms, and more than half a dozen studies are showing that people without symptoms are causing a substantial amount of infection. That is not what the CDC is telling us. The CDC says it's a low risk, but actually each of these states are saying you're incorrect, and you're actually publicizing incorrect information to not cause mass hysteria. But then what role does public health have in telling us the facts or no facts, or just some of the facts, and we have to piece it together, and
the facts are a mess.
They are, and I don't. So
everybody has their own interpretation.
That's because we're not getting enough. We're not getting enough facts, and we're trying to piece it together. So in Massachusetts, they're saying, actually, we're seeing a substantial amount of cases of people who are spreading the virus asymptomatically, which means they're not showing any symptoms. And on top of that, they've done research that they're going to publish in the New England Medical Journal, that people that are asymptomatic, so those that are not showing symptoms, are showing more of a viral load. See, is like, seriously, the social distancing you have to do it. Even if you don't feel sick, you could be, I could be spreading it to you. Right. And I think you and I just resolved to the fact that we're like, well, whatever. I mean, I think we both have that mentality where it's like, on goes the show.
Yeah. Asymptomatic people, even more so with asymptomatic people, apparently, according to that poll, is that it becomes like, it's like literally like weaponizing people and then having them walk around, because this is especially dangerous for the older people and people with conditions. That would be people over age 60, and then especially over age 80. And so I think you literally have it like weaponizing people and walking around who are then infecting other people who it's more dangerous for. And I think that's, from what I understand, now anybody can get really sick from it. The largest portion of people, it's these symptoms of fever and
chills,
cough.
Yeah.
Fever and cough sound like the top ones. But then other people can get really sick. But it's that older crowd and the people with different conditions, cardiovascular condition, and so on and so forth. And I think that's the biggest concern, somatic symptoms or small symptoms, in giving it to people that are high risk.
And not to use the terminology, because we had a show on generations, but it's the baby boomers.
Yeah.
Is that section of the, our parents who are in their 60s, big city like Los Angeles. We're kind of stuck in like this realm of like, what do we do? Do we just kind of hunker down, or do we just maintain life as usual? There's a lot of panic going on, and then there's a lot of people judging everyone's panic. And for me personally, I think this is a time for us to be very empathetic to what everyone's feeling. People deal with depression and anxiety before all of this.
Mm-hmm.
This just adds gasoline to already mental health not helping anything and only causing more of a stir and bad energy.
That's right. It's kind of ruffling a lot of feathers in that way, which goes with the territory. People, they get more concerned, and it riles up a lot of emotion in people. And I think that talk now about the younger generation, and boomers, and have you seen there's like toxic stuff online going on where like kids are like trying to get rid of boomers and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, what they're saying, what I've seen, some memes like, okay, to just die off already so that, my house can be $5. And it's like, that's pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Though I think we're past, I've noticed the shift. You and I we've been talking about coronavirus since before it even remotely hit the US.
Yeah.
Our podcast our show on January 24th, I believe, or 27th,
mm-hmm.
the same day that Kobe Bryant passed away, was the exact same morning that Corona became like what's going on in China.
Yeah.
And we did our show on it, and now here we are. It's March, soon to be April in a couple of weeks, and
mm-hmm.
it's now a full-blown thing. And you can see the progression of how people have taken it, where it's like hilarious, memes everywhere, it's comical, we're all making fun. And then it turns into arguments. Then it turns into very polarizing and divisive comments, to where you're hoping people pass away, or people are quoting karma, that it's karma to people that were eating bats in China. By the way, if you ever utilize the word like, oh, well, that's karma, you should look up what the definition is of karma, because that's actually not correct. So if you're using it that way,
no, for sure. I think there is an emotional, up and down roller coaster of sorts happening with that. And back, like you're saying, when we originally did it, everybody was like, it seemed so far away to people.
Yeah.
We had our masks and stuff. I mean,
I got stuck in my mask,
or she got stuck in her mask,
and now I don't even have a mask. Like, do I need a mask now? Because now you can't buy one.
You can't buy one. I wore my mask on the show, and she got trapped in hers. But yeah, you can't. I don't even think you can get a mask. There's debate about how helpful masks are. That's up in the air. I would think that a mask does something.
I don't know. I think the lack of information.
Something.
I personally think it's, if you're going to give out information, make it all out there or nothing at all, because this in between limbo stuff makes people insane and do insane things. Like here in LA, in Burbank, at a gun store, they have lines out the door, like around the block.
Now, why do they have? Okay, so let's talk about all these things. So why do they have lines out the door at a gun store? Why does anybody think that they're worried about riots and stuff?
Yeah, when times get tricky, and we all run out of food, potentially, if it's like a doomsday type of mentality, that like arm up, get your ammo, because people will start breaking into people's homes. Like it'll be like 1990
there's been a lot happening. I mean, Tom Hanks made the announcement he was diagnosed with it. Of course, it took the nicest person, on the planet, got it first, like the most loved person. I mean, Tom Hanks, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
People love Tom Hanks, and so that was very sad. And I think that
was signing an autograph to a boy that night.
Mm-hmm.
The boy now has coronavirus.
They're signing the autograph for him.
Yes.
Really?
So it's like,
because kids are more uncommon.
Right.
To get it.
Apparently, they may have it, but not just symptoms.
Like antibodies for the
right.
Because antibodies fight it off. Like, is there a way to check to see who has it, who's already fought off? Because the people who are now immune have the antibodies, right? Like they would have those inside of them, and it'd be good to be able to find out who has those or not.
My question to that, though, is I'm hearing that people are getting reinfected again after they just had it.
If you get reinfected.
So then are you immune? You're not immune then from it.
There seems to be some debate about reinfection. Like I've heard the rumors about that. I don't know that I fully believe that that's happening on a grand scale yet. So if that's not happening, I think that you have to find out about the antibodies for immunity. If that's happening, I really don't know until you get the cure or until you find out something. I don't really know what you do if everybody's just getting reinfected. But I don't think that's happening on a grand scale. There's like 70,000 people who say they've recovered. But the problem is you've got people who have it, like literally people who have it and don't.
Pushing out.
And then you have people that don't have it. And then you have people that have it with symptoms. And then you have people that have recovered from it and don't have it anymore. So they think if they've come in contact with someone, they could have it again.
And here's the thing. Look.
And maybe they don't know it.
Exactly. Here's the thing. It's the flu. We get it. There's that argument like, oh, the flu kills 100,000 people a year. Get it. I get it. The problem is, it's not the virus itself. It's not even the panic itself.
Yeah.
It's the stop of the economy. Because that is when it comes to a screeching halt, and now all of our lives are affected. Everything gets affected. It's not a panic thing. From a public health, situation, you have to do what's right. If there is a extremely contagious virus going around, you have to close. You don't have a choice. If you are the one that's not closing, you're going to get ripped apart. So like music festivals to whatever, they have to. They don't have a choice.
Yeah.
As much as people want to say that like, oh, I can't believe that you're buying into this hoax. It's like, if they didn't do it, they would have a massive PR problem on their hands. And how many people would go to the festival? And at some point, people are going to take their lives into their hands and realize, hey, I don't want to take a chance with this thing. And it's not because they fear the virus. People are fearing what's happening to their daily life and how to live. Everyone's on edge. You can feel the energy in the city. There's just like this angst.
So that's the other concern, is the economic fear of how it affects you in your daily life and such, and just the day-to-day of it. So there's the fear of the virus itself, and then the fear of the daily life, and both are being, both are kind of equal fears right now, and it's about how we deal with both.
Well, they're both warranted. I think is what I'd like to get across is like, at what point do you stop yourself from replying to someone's tweet or post that you're like, oh, get over it, blah. And it's like, who are you to say or give your opinion on how someone feels? It's not for you to decide. If they want to panic and have anxiety over it, then let them panic and have anxiety over it. You do you. Let them do that.
That's right. Like, there's a lot of mind reading going on.
Yeah, a lot of mind reading of epic proportions. I think people need to calm down with the rhetoric that's floating around. I know you've dealt with a bunch of it.
I think that everything is different for everybody. Everybody's seeing things differently. People are in their own perspective. And I think the best thing that people can really do, and this is how it applies to social media, hours in the day, and they can do that. But like, if someone's like bothering you, like, instead of getting emotional and angry with them, or like, try to see what they're saying and not tell them how to be, like,
Yeah, can you imagine if I told you how to be. You know, I mean, that's not my role.
That's not the role.
As a human being, is to tell how other people should feel, live. You know, that's not your right.
But I think people get very, upset and emotional about that because
they believe they see their reality, and if you don't see their reality, you're wrong. And it's like, okay, that is the definition of being narrow-minded and
that's
not
right.
empathetic. You're the opposite. Apathy at that point. Right?
Yeah.
Then,
so it's because people only.
When it comes to something like this happening, where it's like scared, panic. First, it's hilarious. That's not. Then it's judgment. I keep a very, very a deep pulse on what I'm seeing on social media. I generally don't partake in any of the conversations, but I see it not through my friends. I mean, I see everyone. I go to people's pages. I can see what's going on so that I can get a feeling for what and that's something that social media is always kind of pulled apart. And we've talked about where it's like, is social media bringing us together, or is it actually making us more isolated? And I actually feel that we have an opportunity to utilize this as a tool and this situation that we're in order to come back together as humans and not to be pulled apart. And you could say that there is a reason in the simulation is creating this type of scenario in order to bring the humans back to where we should be.
I think that's a valid view on it. I think that's very interesting, and I think that's definitely where things could be going. And I think that social media, go Kira. He's brilliant.
He's so proud that
I
come up with smart things to say.
She just comes up with smart things to say, and
don't be so surprised.
Sometimes it blows my mind.
Moron.
It's like our new ongoing.
I do have
joke.
Intelligence,
She's so much smarter than I am.
Don't show it.
She's so much smarter than I am. She's genius.
It's been more fun to play dumb and to watch everyone else think that you're dumb than it is to show the smart one. So true.
I'm the dumb one. She's the smart one. No. Anyway, yes. Anyway,
all of the microphones. The next day gets coronavirus. What are the
how does that happen?
How does that happen?
The one guy who touches all the NBA microphones ends up being the first guy with the coronavirus,
and is the one that causes the NBA to shut down.
And was on camera. Are we in a simulation or what? I mean, are we?
And then next day, mind blown when I see Sarah Palin dressed up as a Furby thing.
What was it, a bear or a purple? It was a purple bear.
And singing Baby Got Back on stage. And I'm just like, what? And Vogue magazine even said,
we're going to be
simulation.
Purple bears in our next episode. No, but on social media, my friend Matt Tilley, who we've had on the show, The British Book, now he just mentioned on social media an hour ago, he said on a scale of 1 to 10, and it was 1 being, or it was 10 being, I think it was 10 being everyone's we're all going to die. And it was 1 being not that much to worry about.
Right.
We don't have to be that concerned. Where are you on the scale? With 1 being, we don't really have anything to worry about. It's the flu. And 10 being, it's DEFCON 5, it's a plague, we're probably all going to die. Because I see both points of view, both movies are alive and well. I mean, they're alive and well.
People will tell you their opinion, one way or the other, and tell you that you were wrong of your opinion.
So I was the first person to respond to Matt Tilley's post because that was brilliantly put. And of course, you know what I said? Hard 5.
Is anyone surprised by that answer that comes from Geoff?
No, because exactly.
Because he sees exactly in the middle.
Because then I'm going to have one side screaming at me on Facebook, and I'm going to have the other side screaming at me on Facebook. So I get everybody screaming at me, like on both sides of the equation. But because I don't know which way it's going to go, I think not knowing and trying to hear both sides is how more of us need. We should all
that's Plato's. That's what Plato said, right? It's like you can be the.
Plato did say that,
right? How's the quote go? It's like
told you she's a genius.
You can be the smartest man. If you don't know everything, you're the smartest man in the room or whatever.
I got to go into my quote manual.
It's
a wise man.
The wisest man knows the least.
Knows what he doesn't know. It should be a wise woman knows what she doesn't know. So that's Kira. You know, I'm
place to put yourself.
That Matt.
You just don't know.
Really.
It could. You know, I would put my place. I would put it at 5.
She's complimenting me now.
Well, I mean, it's true. If you think about it, you know, I mean, who wants to be on either side of that? We just don't know. We don't have our brain. So if we consistently on a daily basis feed our brain off of what we're reading, which is all kind of scary, no matter what news source you're using, at what point do you have to turn that off and find peace?
I think that, I mean, I think that it would be a good idea for more people to do that. I think the irony is that most people want to be a 1 or a 10 for some reason. Most people want to be a 1 or a 10. They really do. I don't know what it is. Like, why can't people hold both of those ideas in their brain?
Because we talked about it before. Because it literally makes your head explode. If you have an opinion, you can't say a Democrat and a Republican. You got to pick one.
It doesn't stand all that. I mean, it's just a mess. Yeah, it's just.
I'm so annoyed by all this. I know that sounds ridiculous, but like, this sucks. This sucks.
She's annoyed.
You know, when we get earthquakes here, and we would get them fairly frequently, like years ago. It's like happening a lot for some reason. I'd be at work, and I'm like, and it would shake my desk, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going home. I'm so annoyed. I'm not scared. I'm just annoyed. I'm like, I gotta go take a nap. I'm just so annoyed that I was thrown off by this thing that I didn't even know was coming, and I couldn't prepare. Like, I'm just angry about it.
So the desk would shake.
Yeah,
and
I was
you
like,
would get up and be like, I'm out.
I'm out. I'm so annoyed. And it's not even that I'm scared. I'm more annoyed.
We're gonna have a show where she's gonna get annoyed and she's just gonna be out. And so it's just gonna be me talking to everyone. So you know, that one's coming. So like, the coronavirus is just annoying now. Now this just sucks. Everyone's on edge. Everyone's energy sucks, including my own. I'm over this shit. We were supposed to, so Geoff and I were supposed to record yesterday, and I'm like, I have corona fatigue. I need a day that is literally where we're not talking about this topic. You can't deal with bat virus anymore.
And I think it's because we've been watching this it's just like, okay.
I also
where's the end?
Yeah, and then I also feel like, so I would say, and then we'll go to like 5 minutes of some questions here. I would say that like, the big thing that people keep in mind is that people have different points of view. People have different perspectives. People get angry and annoyed at the overwhelming amount of corona stuff coming in, COVID-19 stuff coming in. And I think that the key is to try to understand, just take a breath and try to understand the 1s and the 10s and maybe where they're coming from, instead of everybody screaming at each other.
Big inhale.
Big inhale.
Big exhale.
You don't have to go 5 tomorrow.
We'll just kind of shake it off.
You know,
play some Taylor Swift, shake it off. You know, like calm the F down.
And I think that's a big thing to remember. And I think you see it the most on social media. You know, social media is almost like a mirror, isn't it? Because what it does is it's reflecting it back on everyone. So while it's making it worse, it's also holding people more accountable because it's amplifying that behavior. So when you're held more accountable, it makes people see themselves in the mirror of how they're being because it's on that digital platform. So the AI is kind of holding the mirror up to us. Everybody tweets and posts, and then social media holds up the mirror, and nobody likes what they see in the mirror.
Shocking, so isn't it, when you look in front of a mirror and you're like,
yeah.
Who can stand in front of a mirror for 10 minutes and not want to like kind of cry? You know what I mean? And you're right. I think that's an absolute amazing point because I actually feel that this virus and what's happening, whether it was this or a natural disaster or September 11th, whatever it is that opportunity for whatever the universe, it's a shock to the system because we're all like, and I think it's a shock to Americans because nothing happens to us here. Mm-hmm. It's like, what? We're on our own little island. Nothing happens here. But you think about World War II in Europe, where they would hear, the sirens when bombs were coming down, and they were constantly in fear of something. We never had to deal with that here. So the U.S. is just like little toddlers panicking that, oh my God, something's affecting our lives. Like, hey, the rest of planet Earth, outside of our little island, has had to deal with all kinds of stuff that we're just not used to it. We all just need to breathe. Yes, it's at your doorstep. Just breathe.
Yeah, 100%. And so I think that
look in the mirror. Are you okay with who you are?
So all of that stuff, in a way, is also a virus of its own. So we see this physical virus, but there's also another virus that's happening that people don't see. And also fear. I think that's one. And I think another virus is fear, that you don't see fear, it inoculates you silently, and then you don't realize your own symptoms. That's the danger with fears. When you have it, you often can't see your own symptoms, but other people can see them. So I think fear, and I think that the reflected mirror from social media are a couple things that people are talking about the virus. We also need to be aware of these hidden viruses.
I think that's a very fair point. I think it just comes to being very self-aware of what you're taking in and what you're putting out.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine that just texted me before we started recording that said that she's at the grocery store and she's sending me pictures. It's a madhouse.
Yeah.
And a woman just ran over her foot with her cart and didn't even say anything. And she just looks at her like.
Well, there's fights breaking out in parking lots and stuff.
And it's really
at Costco.
Well, right. You really have to take stock of is this really who I am?
Right.
Is this who I really want to be and show my kids this is how you react, or are you proud of who you are and how you're acting? And if you are, by all means, keep running people's feet over carts. It's all you. It's your choice. Everyone makes a choice in the world of how they act. Nothing causes you to act. You create your choice of how to act.
That's right.
You can't blame that on anyone. You can't blame the virus. You can't blame your neighbor. You can't blame anyone. Mm-hmm. You blame yourself and take accountability for your own actions and your choices that you make on a daily basis.
It's just good people get in touch with that within themselves.
Right. You know what? And when you're wrong, you say, mea culpa.
Of being wrong.
No one can be wrong. Everyone's gonna be right.
Why can't people be wrong? I actually kind of I'm wrong all the time.
Same.
So you have to have a non-fear. You can't be fearful of being wrong. Everybody's wrong, and take the risk and be wrong. But at least don't. It's okay to be wrong about things.
Is it?
Yes.
Because I feel like people's ego will just disintegrate, and they'll disintegrate like the guy in Indiana Jones, where his face, he drinks the wrong cup, and it's just like, oh no, I'm wrong, and he falls apart into dust. Do you remember that part?
Yeah. Why does he do that?
Holy Grail.
Why does he fall into dust?
Because he drank out of the wrong cup.
So drinking out of the wrong cup.
I think if you drink out of the cup of, oh, I'm wrong, the ego just, oh God, disaster.
People can't. So that's.
Sorry, Kira's on Snarky McSnark today because I'm fried with various things. So
Snarky Kira is great. We love Snarky Kira. Snarky Kira it up. I mean, that's great. But
you're right. I think it's people just need to take a good hard look at yourself and the way you're reacting in a environment that's very uncertain time. And I think it's time to bring in a little bit humility,
100%,
and a little bit of empathy, and a little good bit of compassion for your fellow man, really, and woman.
Fellow humans.
We're
all about humanity.
Let's go to YouTube. What's going on?
But you're very right.
Kira was on a Spitfire that day.
Let's see what people are saying. People are thinking it's getting way blown out of proportion. Okay, that's one person. I'm going nuts without my sports on my weekends. Yeah, the sports thing, people are going crazy about sports.
It's actually funny. I saw a meme of guys watching, a group of guys that are watching the only thing that any Spanish show, which is bowling, and they're like cheering on bowling.
I posted that.
Oh, was it you?
Yeah, it was me. All we've got is bowling and chess. So people are cheering bowling and chess. That's on my Facebook and Twitter. But yeah, it's hilarious. Put it on Instagram too. Okay, so we've got. Okay, so Michael Fontaine says we have 3 confirmed cases of coronavirus in Erie County, New York, as of yesterday. Sorry to hear that. It's a lot of people are getting it. Okay, then we've got.
Well, we're at over 3,000, I think, in the U.S. and over 50 deaths. I think the count was today.
Yeah, Stevie Grant says it's definitely. I'm just going to bring this little question. It's definitely an issue, but it's way blown out of proportion. Older people, sick people, weak immune system. It's like she said, it's a flu cold on top. And he says, when you see it on the news, commercials text everyone you go, it makes it worse. And I don't really remember Ebola or SARS. It was less commercial. Okay, so.
Well, that's the thing. It's if it is, there's people that are seriously like, this is the apocalypse. And honestly,
yeah,
to say it's not. Who are you to say that it's not? I mean, who knows? No one knows.
Simulation.
If it is, then it is. What are you going to do about it? Freak out and panic? I mean, there's just live your life.
So Christopher Lee Martin says, what's weird is movies show more truth than the local news. This world is like the Monsters, Inc. scary guys.
It'd be really nice I think it's getting really surreal. Like, This is really happening, like when it's just getting, it just sucks.
So I think that, so it sounds like a lot of people on here, from what I'm seeing at this group of questions and such, is they're saying that people are concerned. They're also over it. They want more. They want concern, but they also want optimism and are tired of feeling scared. And
I think when we read reports like South Korea tests 12,000 people a day, and we've only tested 12,000 over a period of 2.5 months, you start to wonder.
I'm listening. Keep on going.
He's like, look at that. Look how good it looks.
I'm loving the view on them. It's like amazing. Like perfect. And we got the microphones. We're doing some tech stuff because, we're 37 episodes in, but we're still, we're a work in progress here. So sometimes it's fun just to talk to you guys because you get to see our work in progress in action. You've seen us since the beginning when it was just Kira and me on a table in your room there.
Yes.
I mean, episode 1.
Right?
It's going to be fun to watch some of those, and
they're already fun.
The people that have stuck with us, it's been
so
great.
What's the game plan? What's your okay, shit's weird game plan? Do you go back home, or do you stay here? Is this like home, or
as far as like the virus?
If it gets rioty here and it's like, okay, I mean, bunker down.
If it gets rioty, which I don't think it will get rioty, I would probably, I don't know, I just drive away. If it gets rioty,
you don't have a gun.
I don't own a gun. Why would I go out on the street in a gunfight? We're not doing that.
We are in the Wild West. I mean, let's be honest.
In the car and drive somewhere else, or something. Like to stay in your house with a gun or something, none of it makes sense to me. Like going in down that is just, it starts to become illogical and such.
I think people use it as like a protection, like when the zombies start crawling on your walls to get into your house. How do I get them to go away?
When are the zombies coming? When does that happen?
That's when I don't personally subscribe to that, but we may be the ones that are going to be robbed and then we drive away. But
what makes people think that zombies are coming?
I mean,
how do they even know about it facetiously? But they think that the zombies are coming, but the crazy people and such. But there's nothing really that in view of my movie and my reality that would illustrate that zombies, that people with crazy guns and stuff are going to come to my place.
Because I think there's that show like on TLC or whatever that's like doomsday prepare people, that like that's what they do. They prepare for doomsday. and they all have guns. They've got their 5-year-old trained all the way up through.
I mean,
they've got like strategic plans. They got bunkers. They've got, it's like Y2K. Remember when Y2K happened?
Yeah.
And people were like buying bunkers in the ground. Is this what this is?
I can't even prepare for a noon meeting the next day.
You're
And
so prepared.
that's what I got. And I've got some, whiskey up there and some,
I'll come to your place.
If it comes, I would get in the car and drive somewhere else. Like, that's probably what I would do. Like, if we got like scary, I would get in the car and drive. If we got quarantined, I have all the food and stuff. I have a little bit more food, but then I would just live off Cheetos or something for a bit. It's like, how long would the quarantine?
I know they're saying schools are probably going to be off for 8 weeks. And now the head of CDC is saying that we should button up for an 8-week.
8-week quarantine? Mm-hmm. I'll be driving into the desert.
Yeah.
If
they say you're going to go into the desert?
Pre-quarantine. If it's 8 weeks, I will get in the car and go somewhere else because that's just dumb. Or I'll just drive there.
You would go crazy if you had to be in your parents' house for 8 weeks.
What about can I just go park a car in the desert and camp? Maybe everybody could camp. Me and Mo are gonna go camp.
What am I gonna do? I've got 2 cats and 2 dogs. Where am I going?
We can all go camp.
Yeah.
How do motorhomes quarantine? How does that work?
I don't think they do. I think they just like do whatever the hell they want. They just drive around.
Is it a mobile quarantine?
You're
technically in your place. I would go get a motorhome is probably what I would do. Anyway, this has been fun. We've discussed.
Sorry for being so snarky, guys.
We're
my brain's fried.
The
nerves are fried. I'm just over it. This just sucks.
She's brilliant with the brilliant snarky.
I need to go meditate and go in the woods and be with nature.
So try to meditate like Kira and try to understand other point of views, understand about fear.
Breathe. Breathing exercises are good for you. Breathing.
Yeah.
Oxygen's needed to the brain so that you can think rationally.
Be concerned for people. Stay as low risk as you can. Try to stay home and away from other people that can be very cautious about that. I feel like we haven't emphasized that part of it enough.
The social distancing needs to be really actually emphasized quite a bit.
You do need to be very aware of the social distancing and staying away from other people. It's not the smartest time in the world for 30 people to congregate next to each other in a bar. It's just not the best time. You're putting people at risk. It's just, don't do that. Like, stay home, whenever you can. I mean, that's the fact.
Like, if they tell you to do it,
stay home.
Probably should listen.
There was an article that I posted last night that said this isn't a snow day.
Right.
Stay home. Yeah. Don't infect others. If you have symptoms, understand both sides of that. I know it's hard, but try to understand both sides of it. And that's the best thing I could ever offer.
My sanitizer here.
We're gonna sanitizer. Hand sanitizer. What is it?
Sanitizer?
There's like Amazon. If you put in sand sanitizer,
Can we just go to the woods and disappear for the night until this blows over?
We're getting a motorhome, and we'll see you all in the woods.
You can join our caravan
next episode. So
episode 38
coming from the deep woods with Geoff and Kira.
Stay safe out there. Drink lots of water. Continue working out. Your body needs to move a little bit. Don't just sit there like a lump potato on the couch.
Episode